Night one of the 2023 WWE Draft is in the books. We're going to go over the results right here in this video. Alright, before we get into the 16 picks that were made live on SmackDown tonight, we're going to run down the names that went undrafted, but will be drafted tomorrow morning on the SmackDown Lowdown. I could have swore at the beginning of the show they said they would just continue like online after the draft. Then Michael Cole said tomorrow morning. So I don't know. Point is, we're all going to find out on social media where the rest of these names from the Friday night pool go. So who went undrafted tonight, not including the people that are in the Monday Night Raw draft pool this Monday? Candice LeRae, Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, Dexter Lumis, Dolph Ziggler, Hit Row, Lacey Evans, Maximum Male Models, Mustafa Ali, Natalia, Omos, and the Viking Raiders. So all of those names, I'm sure by this time tomorrow, we will have an answer as to what brand they are going to. But I'm going to get into these results, man. Like I said, 16 picks, 4 rounds, 4 picks per round. So SmackDown kicked it off, number 1 overall. Now the Usos are in the Monday Night Raw draft pool. I don't know why. I guess they just did that just to create tension because of the tag team title match tonight. Obviously must have to do with the Bloodline storyline, but obviously it would have just made more sense for the Bloodline to be collectively drafted, but not here nor there. At the end of the day, SmackDown, as we probably expected, number 1 overall, no matter what brand it was going to be, Roman Reigns, as well as Solo Sikoa and Paul Heyman. No huge shock there. And now we have official confirmation that Roman Reigns will be bringing the undisputed WWE Universal Championship to SmackDown. Hopefully it just gets merged into the undisputed WWE title. Monday Night Raw will officially have the World Heavyweight Championship. And number 1 for Monday Night Raw, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Now this didn't really shock me. I thought Cody would go to SmackDown, but honestly, I think they're playing the long game here with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, and it was rumored throughout today. I've been talking about it in recent videos. We're probably not going to get Cody versus Roman part 2 until WrestleMania 40. So we got a long way to go if that's the plan, and if that's the case scenario, keeping them apart for the better part of the next year is the way to do that. I don't think Cody Rhodes will win the World Heavyweight Championship on Raw. It's a possibility, don't get me wrong, and I definitely see him challenging for it, possibly being in the tournament that I believe Michael Cole said would be happening, or Wade Barrett, whoever it was, on commentary tonight for the World Heavyweight title. Could definitely see him trying to become the world champion and failing, and then adding into his whole adversity thing over the next year, again playing into that John Cena 2012-2013 storyline. You could already fully expect, Cody Rhodes to be one of the top picks to win the Royal Rumble next year, and I do believe one way or another this is really just a move to kill time over the next year for Cody to eventually meet Roman Reigns once again in Philadelphia at WrestleMania 40. And SmackDown's number 2 pick, big shocker here, they selected the Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair. Now, I do not think, personally, Rhea Ripley, by the way, and none of the Judgment Day were drafted tonight. They're all in the Monday Night Raw draft pool. I do not think we are going to get the old swap of the titles, like how Vince was doing with the tag team titles. I'm pretty sure he did it multiple times. I don't think that's going to happen. What has been rumored all week and what I think is going to happen is several name changes for all of the titles and new designs as well. I don't think there will be a SmackDown Women's title or a Raw Women's title anymore. Same thing with the tag team titles. I think after we get through Backlash, after we get through the draft, and on Raw this coming Monday and everything's decided, I do believe we will get Bianca Belair's Raw Women's Championship renamed just the WWE Women's Championship. And then as for Rhea Ripley, since I assume she'll go to Monday Night Raw, I assume the SmackDown Women's Championship will get renamed the Women's Women's World Championship. Mix that up there. I honestly think that's where we're heading, and that's again been rumored. I think same thing with the tag team titles. I actually posted my thoughts on this over on Twitter, title by title, if you guys want to see what I mean, how they'll be split up. But I don't think we'll be getting a swap of the titles, which I'm very much happy with. And Bianca going to SmackDown was a swerve for me, and an all good one. I'm much not necessarily looking forward to it, but it's a nice change of pace, if you will. That's the word I'm looking for Bianca Belair and her going to SmackDown. Monday Night Raw got Becky Lynch. No big shocker there. Seth Rollins was not in the pool tonight, so I assume he'll be drafted to Monday Night Raw. As I think everybody's been predicting. I haven't seen anybody, at least on social media on my end, see Seth Rollins going to SmackDown. I think a lot of people see Seth Rollins in that World Championship picture with Becky Lynch going to Raw. I think that pretty much confirms Seth will be also added to Monday Night Raw this coming week. Then we get into the second round, which kicks off with SmackDown, and they secure the Street Profits. So Bianca's going to SmackDown, pretty much told you that the Street Profits were as well, and they kicked off at the next round very high up for the Street Profits, so I expect them to be a big part of Friday Night SmackDown. And Raw countered with Imperium in its entirety, of course, most importantly, the Intercontinental Champion Gunther. So this Monday on Raw, I expect the United States Championship, Austin Theory, to be heading to SmackDown. Bobby Lashley could easily defeat Austin Theory for the United States title at Backlash, and he brings the championship to SmackDown. Austin Theory could still get drafted to Raw, but honestly, I think Austin Theory going to SmackDown will be a nice change of pace for him. So him going to SmackDown, I expect that come Raw this Monday. Imperium Gunther going to Raw, I like that move there. Just, you know, again, to mix things up, and Gunther could easily, again, down the line, I don't see him being anywhere near the initial, you know, crowning of the champion, as he's still in the midst of his legendary Intercontinental Championship reign. But down the line, you know, even WrestleMania 40 time, Gunther could easily be challenging for the World Heavyweight title. I feel official here with, I wrote with writing the draft notes down in my notebook, and I'm just holding it. But Gunther, Imperium going to Raw. And next up, we had Edge getting drafted to SmackDown. I'll be honest, my only disappointment with this is now Edge not going to be in the running to become world champion, which I really wanted him to. As I talked about in my video the other day, Edge was one of the top of the list guys to compete for that world title in my eyes. But Edge is going to SmackDown. We'll see what happens from there. I'm sure they're going to fill that brand up with some names, some fresh matchups for Edge. All remains to be seen. And then on the flip side for Raw, they got Matt Riddle. So Matt Riddle not going to be on the same brand as Roman and Solo. We'll see what happens with the Usos on Raw, but looks like we're going to get some new starts for Matt Riddle on Raw. And I hope Randy Orton's not in the draft pool, which I didn't really expect him to be since he's injured, but we'll see. I assume Randy Orton will eventually, when he return to Monday Night Raw. And I really like Matt Riddle on Raw. I didn't think about this originally, but Riddle and Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship would certainly be a hell of a good time, so I'm down for that pick. And then we got into the third round. For the first time since he returned in 2018, Bobby Lashley finally on SmackDown. He has been a Raw guy since he made his comeback several years ago, and he is finally heading to Friday Night SmackDown. The biggest thing here for Bobby Lashley is he can finally challenge Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Championship. And Lashley versus Roman, one of the last few matches that's brand new for Roman Reigns. And if Roman could possibly be holding the championships till WrestleMania 40, he's going to need some fresh challengers. Lashley, another guy we're going to talk about in a minute, definitely going to be some top names to challenge Roman Reigns, not necessarily defeat him, but Lashley heading to SmackDown. And if Austin Theory's over there, Lashley could easily, you know, beat Austin Theory for the US title at Backlash, and they can continue, not necessarily that feud because we've seen it, but Lashley can go on a new streak with the US title maybe. But again, most importantly here, change of scenery for Lashley, and Lashley versus Roman, gonna be a good time down the line. And another pick that I really like here, Drew McIntyre going to Raw as we predicted. He's away from Roman Reigns. He is in the same brand as the new World Heavyweight Championship, as he should be. McIntyre, Seth Rollins, your top two guys that should be challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship right now. I know a lot of people are going to say, what about LA Knight? Because a lot of people are high on LA Knight being the world champion. I'm all for it. Down the line, not right now. We need LA Knight to start building up a little bit more steam. He finally got a win tonight on SmackDown over Butch. LA Knight winning Money in the Bank possibly. I'm all for that, but second half of the year into next year for LA Knight to be world champion in my eyes. Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins are top two guys. McIntyre's on Raw. Now we just need Seth on Monday. Very happy with that pick. And then moving on from there, we had the OC going to SmackDown. Anderson Gallows, Michin, Mia Yim, and most importantly, AJ Styles back on SmackDown, the house that AJ Styles built, where he had his, you know, rookie year and basically became a star in WWE, was WWE champion, US champion, the face of SmackDown. And most importantly, as we mentioned, another guy Roman Reigns could possibly face over the next year if he's going to hold the titles till WrestleMania 40. AJ and Roman have not touched since 2016. That is an absolute crime, and they are two completely different stars now, especially Roman Reigns. We need Roman versus AJ, not just once. Give me a series of matches, man. We need the OC versus the Bloodline, which is another reason why the Usos need to go to SmackDown, just so we can get a full Bloodline versus OC feud once again. But AJ versus Roman, you can get two pay-per-views out of that, and they'll absolutely steal the show. So I'm very happy that all four of them are going to SmackDown. Next up, Raw picked The Miz. Literally nothing to talk about there because it's The Miz. Moving on, the seventh pick for SmackDown was Damage Control in their entirety. I honestly thought we might have got Damage Control split, but once we found out the draft polls for Raw and SmackDown, we saw that they were going to be drafted together. I kind of like how they put it. It wasn't just like, oh, you can pick one person or, you know, the whole team or this, that. It was just like, listen, these are the picks, these are the teams, pick them together. They let you know in advance, so we didn't, you know, expect like how the New Day got broken up a few years ago is what I'm trying to say. Damage Control kept together. They're going to SmackDown, and a lot of people thought they were going to be drafted to Raw, and Io Sky, during the night, people were talking about this. Io Sky was like, oh, going to be a shoo-in to fight Bianca or defeat Bianca Belair at Backlash for the Raw Women's title, but now that they're both on the same show, I think that only furthers my statement from earlier that I think these championships are going to be renamed, new looks, and the brand that they currently, you know, possess, if you will, whether it's Raw or SmackDown, doesn't really matter. Bianca's reign as champion will continue, unless Io beats her, but just as this reign as the Raw Women's Champion will continue. Io Sky, Dakota Kai, Bayley, all going to SmackDown. Raw countered with Shinsuke Nakamura, which is a lot like Bobby Lashley's case, Bobby Lashley has been on Raw since 2018, finally on SmackDown. Nakamura has been a SmackDown guy since he made his main roster debut. I was just about to graduate high school when Shinsuke Nakamura was making his SmackDown debut, and he's finally on Monday Night Raw for the very first time. So I'm a big fan of that. Again, change of scenery, and I think a lot of people are in the same boat as me. I would love to see Nakamura in that tournament, getting closer to the end, possibly in the finals to become world champion. I'd love to see Nakamura just hold any gold, you know, over the next year until we get another draft and maybe he moves, or regardless. But Nakamura on Raw, really like that pick. And then we got your final two choices of the evening, both coming from NXT. So SmackDown secures the NXT Women's Champions Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, which was a big shock. I did not see them two getting drafted. The people that in a segment a few minutes later challenged them for the titles this Tuesday on NXT, Casey Catanzaro, or that's not her name anymore, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, challenging them to this week on NXT. I thought those two were going to get called up, but these two did, and that's fine by me, man. We need some more legit teams in the WWE main roster women's division. They obviously, I'm going to assume, will drop their titles and obviously stick to them as a team for the time being. They're going to be a great team on SmackDown. And then as for Monday Night Raw, they secured, and I was very happy to see this because we talked about this in the fantasy draft video, the NXT Women's Champion Indy Hartwell. And this is very important to me because now Candice LeRae can get drafted to Raw, and we can have Candice and Indy back together, which is another team for the women's tag team division on the main roster, which again is very important. I've been wanting to see these two paired up ever since Candice came back in September. I don't know why they honestly waited this long. I would have done it almost immediately, but whatever, beggars can't be choosers. Indy Hartwell finally on the main roster. She's heading to Raw. Now we just need, Candice LeRae over there come Monday, or come tomorrow actually, because she's in the draft pool that didn't get drafted tonight, and then we'll have a new team in the division, which again is very important. And that is the results for night one of the draft. I think both brands are looking pretty solid right now. Obviously only 16 picks overall, 8 picks each brand, obviously some groups and tag teams, so not too much depth on each roster so far, but we still got the rest of the draft pool, which will be, if I can get it out, will be announced tomorrow on the SmackDown Lowdown, and then Monday night on Raw we will finish everybody else. And there's obviously a lot of names: Seth Rollins, the LWO, the Brawling Brutes, Austin Theory. There's a bunch of names still left to go come Monday night. Obviously a lot of the women's division, because only 2 main roster women, and then the NXT picks. Oh, and Damage Control and Mia Yim. All right, so some women got picked, but obviously the majority of the women's division is still to be decided. So a lot of good stuff coming out tonight, and honestly, it's still hard to really call who won, if you will, because we need to, you know, see the rest of the draft come Monday. But as for night one, definitely a thumbs up so far. I'm looking forward to Raw. Guys, let me know down below in the comments, who do you think won, if you will, night one of the draft? And with these rosters that we have so far, these incomplete rosters, what are some matchups you're looking forward to? Obviously, I talked about Roman versus Lashley, Roman versus AJ, McIntyre's on Raw, maybe McIntyre and Gunther will run it back, Cody versus Gunther, Matt Riddle versus Gunther, anybody versus Gunther is going to be great. But let me know down below in the comments, what do you guys want to see so far with these incomplete rosters from the draft? Be sure to go follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Noah Nation Vlogs. And again, I'll be back on Monday night / early Tuesday morning, whenever the video gets uploaded, for the Raw side, the night 2 of the draft. You guys know what I mean. The results on Raw. We're right here. You guys know what I mean. Anyway, I will see you guys this week, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.